Hello and welcome to another Wednesday Paint and Chat. I hope you're all having a wonderful December so far. Oh, I've got horrible feedback happening. Why?
Oh, we can't hear it.
Yeah, hold on.
It's because I have you in the wrong place. There you go. There you go. Now you're the head of the show.
Okay. Excellent. All professionals around here.
Just organized all poorly. Look at that. It was the disembodied voice show for a little while. I don't know why in my mind, like Miranda needs to be in the top left. I guess it's just because the way you read a book or something, maybe. I don't know.
I think somebody's giving feedback though. I can hear the stream.
I shouldn't be me.
I don't hear anything from mine, but
it sounds normal on my end.
Yeah, it sounds normal here too.
But I think I might have figured it out. It's probably my fault.
You're just a weirdo.
No, I just have more windows open than I should.
It wouldn't be a stream if there wasn't some technical issue.
Isn't that the truth?
So anyway, as we were, happy Wednesday to everybody. Below me, I've got the disembodied voice here, my guy in a chair.
Hello there.
We've got our usual wonderful paintress, the painter Flo.
Hello.
What are you working on? I know they're white scarves and there's bicycles.
White scarf bikes. Yeah, that's what I've got in front of you tonight. I might be building some custodies later if I finish these guys up. So.
Excellent. And then the wonderful, the illustrious, we've got a very special guest tonight, the amazing DM Scotty joining us. Yay!
Yay! Thank you for having me.
Well, fun. You are always a joy. Did we meet at Valhalla? We met before, maybe. I don't remember.
No, we actually just reached out. And yeah, because we were a fan of the DM's craft.
Yes.
That's actually DM Scotty is DM Scotty from the DM's Craft. That's his YouTube channel. But he has tons and tons of really cool videos on how to kind of simply make really cool terrain out of just very simple household sort of things. He has a ton of videos on it. If you're wargaming on a budget, man, that's the way to go.
Totally.
But we reached out to him and we're like, hey, come be a dungeon master, game master guy at Valhalla. And so you've been there 4 years?
Yeah. 3. Yeah, 3.
Is
the
it
next
3?
One
oh, okay. All right. And
we appreciate.
He will be at the upcoming Valhalla.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so we will have our game master. I always think of dungeon master, but game mastered by DM Scotty.
That's fine. I mean, I have DM Scotty, so.
Right.
My thinking was when I originally did that was that, it was Dungeon Master Scotty, but it was like, if they ever get on me about Dungeon Master, I can just say it's David McFarlane because that's my name. My name is David Scott McFarlane. So I can say it's David McFarlane.
It's my initials. You can't get on to me for it.
I beat you.
Whereas you didn't want to be GM Scotty because then it'd just be General Motors Scotty.
Right.
And people think you're the CEO of a car company, and
DM definitely sounds better.
Just gets confusing.
Oh, Andrew's asking, don't you technically have a body now? I guess that happened after you were on with me on the Angry Joe show.
I was temporarily corporeal.
Temporarily. Your little hat. DM Scotty, you got the Northern Lights in the background. How fancy of you.
Oh, yeah.
To go with all his cryptids that he's wearing on his hoodie.
Although I think it might be changing my face color. I don't know. The camera's trying to.
It's just trying to keep up with it. Yeah, you like red too.
I'm shifting tones.
That's right.
One of my special skills.
You're just magical.
Yeah.
We believe it.
They wouldn't take me in the X-Men. I guess shifting your skin, color your skin was
a chameleon.
Right.
It's like, actually, that's not the lights doing it. It's just a thing Scotty can do.
Right. I just say it's the light.
So Patty here, also, he's made his own game system too. He has the game system Mutants, which is more of a tabletop, more of a war game. But he was definitely very excited to get to play with you the last time he was out. So.
Oh man, playing with Scotty's the best.
Oh,
them.
thank you.
It is. We definitely get to do some wild things. We played on the Easy D6 system last year, where we had they weren't quite zombies. We were dealing with aliens.
No, it was
Yeah,
the alien
yeah.
invasion one.
And I was in the longer setup, so we had the vampire hunters.
Oh yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't
I had
see
the
that
Vampire
one.
Hunter game going on, and the weird facility, where you're all trapped. You're just kind of normal people trapped in a bad situation.
Is that the snuff film one?
Yeah, that's the one you played with Aaron, right?
There, I almost escaped. It's twice now I've played with Aaron where I would escape if I abandoned him, but I don't, and then we both die. Oh,
Yeah. Hey, that's
yeah.
the way it goes.
Mr. Got Rockets in the house. Hello, by the way. Also, kind of in your neck of the woods, I believe.
Oh.
To tour the Raoul Partha Legacy facility.
Yeah. Yeah, I would like to.
I didn't even know that was a thing. That sounds awesome.
Wow. Yeah.
Definitely get that checked out. Oof. Whenever we were in Ohio, if only we had more time, we might have been able to set some fun stuff up. Well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well. How are things in Ohio? I imagine they're quite cold.
Yes, especially today. It was snowing. So we got snow. Yeah. And it's been pretty cold. It's been pretty cold the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I will never forget Ohio after going out there in February earlier this year to film in spandex.
Yeah.
Like
right.
30-degree weather.
Yeah.
By the way,
I love my
hello.
job. I love my job. I love my job.
So Jerry DeBacca says hello from Las Vegas, New Mexico.
Hello, Jerry.
Hey.
Which
Thanks.
few people know was where they filmed the original Red Dawn.
Oh, was it?
Yep, it's up in Las Vegas, New Mexico.
Cool.
One of
That's kind of fun.
Disembodied Voices' favorite movies.
Oh, I love that as a kid. I mean, who doesn't? You're an 80s kid and you're watching
Mhm.
Red Dawn. I mean, you just want to be one of the Wolverines. Come on.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Does that mean you have to eat a deer heart?
I was scared when I went deer hunting for the first time with my dad because in that movie, that's a thing. It's a tradition. You got to do it. And I didn't want to mention it or bring it up because I was worried
Just
my
in
dad
case.
would make me do it.
Oh my God.
Looking back on it, probably he wouldn't have made me do it, but he probably would have at least made me think I had to do it for a little while.
Oh, sorry, Andrew. We do love our car wrecks around here. It's, the uninsured and the drunk drivers really rule the state, I'm afraid. But,
The truth.
so I learned today, I was today years old when I learned that 28 years later is an actual real movie that's getting ready to come out, I guess.
What's the third part of a trilogy?
From
28 Days with Sandra Bullock to 28 Days Later, the zombie movie. And now it's 28 years later. That's a trilogy, right?
Cillian Murphy's supposed to come back.
Wait a minute.
it looks like he's in the photo for it. Huh. Yeah, I don't know what to think about that exactly, but
Well, look, just because 28 Days doesn't have any zombies in it, it's just showing that when Sandra Bullock finally stops being an alcoholic, it was all for naught. She stopped drinking just 28 days too early.
amazing. Oh, now we've got animal hearts on. I've hunted a bit, okay, more than a bit, and never once ingested raw animal bits or effluents. It's not a good idea.
Turns out.
No.
Y'all tried chicken hearts once, though, didn't you?
Those were cooked
Yeah,
And
but
that
you
was
did try
one-
them.
and basically taste like pencil erasers.
I would imagine.
The best thing that restaurant had, Kano's, was the grilled pineapple. That's delicious.
But, at 15 years old and before the internet existed in any real capacity, you just don't know. You don't know if you're supposed to eat the deer heart or not. All right? It's a real fear.
Oh my gosh. Well, getting aside from that, P.S. I've randomly decided that for those of you who are following my Facebook, where I have posted about the link for tonight's live show, if you want to post images of whatever models you're working on, then I'm going to save them to a folder and share them toward the end of the stream. So you've got time. But that's, I've decided. Because I love looking at all y'all's lovely work. You do such good things. So with that said, DM Scotty, what have you been working on, mister? You've been
yeah.
hiding away.
I had some conventions there at the end of the year. I did one in Pittsburgh, and I was up in North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina. There's a convention I like to go to there. They actually do a crafting contest, and I don't usually enter it, but they like, oh, come on, Scotty, enter a contest. So I'm like, okay. So basically, you have 4 hours to craft something, right?
Yeah.
And they have all this craft supplies, from everything from cardboard to paint to glue. And so they give you a miniature, like a surprise miniature. You don't know what it's going to be. And so I got a troll. Mine was a troll.
Ooh,
and then everybody has a different one, right? So you got to make something. You got to craft something in 4 hours that fits the theme of the thing, right? So my thing that I've seen is when people do these kind of things, if you can tell a story within the terrain kind of thing, it tends to draw people in better, right? It tends to get better votes. Because I've always been attracted to that when people do that in their, instead of just having like a sci-fi guy standing by a sci-fi wall, if you have a blood trail or whatever, and you have an alien head, and then, you have him at the corner, that's telling a story, right? Than him just standing there on the wall, right? So, so I got the troll. So I did kind of a cave, a cavern, and I had a thing that said free hugs. And then I did like a big banner of a troll face, and I had mommy. I wrote mommy on it. And I just went crazy and goofy, but I won the damn contest.
Does it win through sheer creativity?
I go in and they're like, the judges are like, okay, Scotty has won the contest. I felt bad, but it's like,
You're like,
you told me to enter.
You asked me to be in it.
You were the reluctant hero.
That's it.
There you go.
I did get a lot of cool supplies. They gave me like a gift certificate and some like spray paint that's like acrylic spray paint. So really cool. I love that stuff. It's great. It doesn't stink as bad as regular spray paint. So
Hobby Lobby, I think, has a series of those.
Those are ones that are designed to be sprayed over like foam, like EVA foam, right?
Yeah, they can.
Yeah. I've also found that like toys, like rubbery plastic toys tend to be sticky when you spray paint it with regular spray paint. But with this, they're not. They're not sticky.
No, I've run into that problem with some primers. I remember the what was it? The board game, the Privateer Press. Undercity. Is that it? Undercity? Yeah, all of those miniatures, whatever that plastic was, I sprayed a gray primer on it, and it took 2 weeks for it to finally cure. It was just sticky and weird for 2 solid weeks. And it's just like, I don't know what that plastic was, but wow. So I bet that acrylic spray paint would have been a lot better for that.
Maybe so. What's your go-to craft for making stuff, Scotty?
My go-to craft?
Go-to crafting material. I'm sorry. Is it like?
Oh yeah. I love to use cardstock and cardboard.
Okay.
It's just easy to work with, right? It's just very easy to work with. And I love the hot glue gun. That's my thing.
It's not hard to find either.
No.
Come on.
Everybody's throwing out cardboard, and usually you can find cardstock just in boxes. Sometimes they put it in the bottom of boxes and stuff like that. Yeah. And I like to craft for Christmas. I'm doing a couple things for that too. I 3D printed these little dragon newt things, and I got these glass globes, and so I painted the base of a glass globe. It's like wood, and then you put the glass globe on it, and I made a little diorama inside with the newt. So it has glass eyes. They're 3D printed, but they have glass eyes, and then I put fake hair running down the back, so it's sticking up spiked, and it's that really fun colors, like really pastel colors, and they're really cool. I can't wait to give them out for Christmas. I also did some Krampus. So Krampus things.
I want to be on your Christmas list.
So fun stuff.
As a side note, have you seen the Krampus movie? It's from like several years ago.
Oh yeah.
I love that movie.
It is definitely a fantastic Christmas movie.
And my dad is a fan of ELO, and he just took us a few months ago to see the ELO. We thought they did a tour, so I think it was 5 years ago, and they did a tour. And we thought that would be it. And they did another tour though, so we went, and he took us all to it, and he just loves ELO and all that kind of stuff. So I found the ELO's kind of logo is the space saucer, right? It's this multicolored space saucer that they have on all the record albums, and I found one on Thingiverse and 3D printed it. So basically, I've got I've got like an ELO kind of poster on a wooden background, and then I'm going to have like a clear stick coming out of it, and then the saucer like 3D like popping out of the poster.
Nice.
Yeah. So it should be pretty neat. I'm excited. He's probably going to go ape nuts for that. It's just fun to do this kind of stuff, Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that was the Over and Out tour. Oh, it was amazing. It was totally amazing. They had a huge version of the saucer on the stage behind them.
Cool.
And that center where the ELO was cut out. It was like they would play like videos in the center of the saucer, and then it's got lights shooting out of it, and it was just amazing. It was just so cool.
That does sound neat.
I mean, everybody knows Evil Woman,
Yeah.
Everybody hears that. If you don't know that song, you've heard it in some song on the store in the Muzak somewhere.
Absolutely.
It's one of those that even if you don't know who they are, you've definitely heard that song.
You have heard several of their songs, even if you don't know who ELO is. But he took me when I was 13 initially to see them, and it was just so cool because they've got violins and cellos, and they got the whole this whole thing going on. They have an opera singer, it's just amazing. It's just really cool.
Gotta love good concerts. We haven't been to one in a while, I guess, have we? Although Linkin Park got back together.
It is very controversial.
Linkin Park pieced themselves together.
They did. They kind of sallied themselves together, sewing up another arm. But I don't know. I haven't seen them since like the mid-aughts, and I feel like I need that experience again in my life. So I might, but they're of course not coming through New Mexico because.
Of course not.
Well, New Mexico used to have amazing bands that came through here. Like we were really hard rock, like metal came through here. We had Ozfest and then Project Revolution came through here, all the cool stuff. I don't know what happened. It all dried up. So now I have to go to either Arizona or Denver.
I mean, to be fair,
they just pass on by.
The last concert we saw here was The Cure.
The Cure was great.
The Cure was great, yeah.
And then, before that, we saw 9 Inch Nails with Soundgarden.
Oh, that's fun.
True. That was several years ago now.
Yeah.
We also got to see the other one. Dave Grohl.
Yeah. Foo Fighters. Yeah.
Foo Fighters. That name is not coming to mind. Yeah.
So we do get them sometimes. It just depends. I don't know if it's just whoever their manager is, or how if this venue bids for bands. I don't know how that works. So we get them sometimes, but a lot of times we don't. So whatever that reasoning is, I couldn't say.
Thomas says anyone who watched the Rock and Roll Express remembers ELO rock and roll is king.
Oh yeah, rock and roll is king. Yeah.
Yes.
Nice. I love it. I didn't get to say hi to everyone in the chat. I'm sorry about that, guys. Appreciate you all being here. Thank you, Paul, as my wonderful moderator. Apparently he got to meet Jez Hunt, who worked on 28 years later. But He's in England and he gets to sometimes meet people, but he hasn't met Henry Cavill yet because he knows what's good for him. Tell me if you did. If you do want to share minis and have it posted on the stream, just pop them in as a comment on my Facebook post about tonight's live stream, and I'll make sure to add it.
Yeah, if you go there now, you'll probably start to see some miniatures other people have already posted. So just follow that crowd.
Just do what the group does. It's always safe, right? So how long's Easy D6 been around at this point, Scotty?
Oh, it's been like, was it a couple of years now?
Just a couple? Is it that new?
Yeah.
I think
Oh,
so.
wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a pretty recent one. I remember that.
Yeah. Or maybe getting close to 3 actually. Now.
How long was that in development for you?
Probably several years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if somebody wanted to purchase Easy D6, where would they go?
They should go to Runehammer Games, and they have all the books there. You can actually get the set of 3, which is the original book, the core book, the Book of Quests, which is 18 quests for the original fantasy book, and then there's Wasted World, which is my post-apocalyptic, which is just super fun. So it's all 3 of those books for $60, which is like a steal, because individually they're like 25. So. Yeah, and you get the PDF with it, so you don't have to buy the PDF separately or anything. It automatically comes with it. So, there we go. Yeah.
So you go down,
scroll down a little bit. Yeah, there you can
gosh.
see the 3-book deal right there. Yeah.
Easy D6 right here.
Yeah.
So professional at this.
And there's Scotty right in the middle.
Yep.
And his wizard,
Yeah.
his alternate world version of Scotty.
And I
So is
want
that
to
something you commissioned, or did a friend do that for you?
we commissioned an artist named Bova did Sean Bova did all the artwork.
Oh, okay.
We had another artist for the quest book that did some of the maps, but Sean Bova has done all the regular artwork in all the books, and he's amazing. His artwork just really exemplifies the style that I'm kind of going for,
Yeah, it has. God, it feels 80s, right? Like
it does. It
Yeah.
totally. And yeah, just so much fun.
I love this little guy.
Yeah.
That's cool.
He looks like a cryptid.
He does. And I want to thank you guys for helping me, because those games I play at Valhalla are a lot of times like test games that I'm doing. So you guys, playing those horror games like helped me with the new book that I'm working on.
Yay!
Basically, it's part of the laboratory right there.
Yeah, right. Yeah. You're the guinea pigs.
I mean, but it never feels like it. So.
Oh, I'm glad.
Yeah. You're not like, hold on.
Yeah, wait.
Do that again.
Yeah.
Spontaneously come up with that plan again.
Scratch that rule off. That doesn't work.
No, it's always a good time. I like getting to play test. Like, it's one of the cool things about Valhalla, right? You get that time where you can just really dive into something or talk about it. Oh,
that's what I love about it, because I try to do multi-session games, which is impossible to do anywhere else, right? It's just you just don't have the time. And I've been to like conventions where they'll do it, but it's like, that's really hard to get everybody back to the same table, right, at a regular convention, because it's so chaotic. But with Valhalla, it's like everything's centered. You got the base of operations. Everybody goes.
We got you covered.
You got it covered. And it's just so easy to do that. And so I love that multi-session thing, because then you don't come back. It's like a month later. You're like, what were we doing? What was happening?
Yeah.
Because it's just hard to remember when you do games. You don't do games weekly, and I can't. A lot of us have adulting to do, and we can't do games every week.
So overrated.
Yeah, it is. I know, and we can't do games every week, so you kind of forget what happens. And Generally my wife like takes notes because she plays too, and so she takes notes. Susan, my wife Susan, so she takes notes and she kind of fills us in. She's the she's the lore keeper of the game, right?
Oh, the
and there's like stuff I don't even remember,
Does she ever just throw things in there like, yeah, you're totally doing that? And you're
Not
like,
that I know of. I'll be like, oh, I remember that. Okay. But
Well,
yeah,
we
in
love
Valhalla, it's like back to back. Like it's just like it was yesterday that you literally played, right?
yeah.
So it's just like so great going back and jumping right back in where you were. And now the
Sean
vampire
is
game that I ran at Valhalla, I ran it as a convention game, but it was like really tight. I went over every time because it was like 4 missions in one, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like at Valhalla, I did 2 one day and 2 the next day, which was nice because it allowed more room to breathe for the mission to breathe, right? I didn't have to rush things.
Yeah.
It was just barely enough to get in a one session, if I rushed it. And it never quite fit. We always went over. And so it was perfect for Valhalla because I could, it was long and it was already long enough that it would fit, so it was just a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
That is, yeah, that's, it's interesting because RPGs have gone through they've gone through a lot of changes, right? From being what the nerdy rejects did in the 80s and 90s, and then like 2000s, Geek Chic sort of really hit, and D&D has been the top dog for a long time, but I don't know how long they're going to keep that crown. Like, I feel like there's a lot of really good competition against it anymore.
There are some great games out there. There really are. I don't want to crap talk D&D, but some games that are way better than D&D. And it's just that they don't have the marketing budget that D&D does. They can't get out there. I was in kind of a lucky situation because people knew me, and they had played the game with me, and my friend who did it, Brandon over at Runehammer, we've been friends for a long time, and he's like, I want to do this. I want to make this game with you. This is a great game. So he put his clout behind it, and then Professor Dungeon Master, who's big in the D&D community, said great things about it. And so that really, all that kind of together really helped me EZD6 to break out,
Okay, so sort of like a passive play testing.
Yeah, right. And it's reached, it's also for sale on drive-thru.
Yeah, Patty uses drive-thru RPG, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But,
I'm familiar with that one, yeah.
But it's on drive-thru also. The newest book isn't. It's just on Runehammer. But the other 2 books are on drive-thru. And that the first book is an adamantine status, which is like the highest level. There's like 0.0003% of books on the site are at that level. So it's at the highest level you can get. And there's thousands of things on drive-thru, right?
Yeah.
And there's like maybe 150 adamantine, things.
Nice.
Yeah, it takes a lot to get on there. So it did very well.
No, there's a lot to say for, if somebody's out there wanting to be a creator or wanting to, write books or, create RPGs or miniatures or any of that stuff, build a following, do something that people get to know you, they get to trust you, they get to do all that stuff. So when you start putting out, things that you are creative, that you created, then people will be willing to give it a chance instead of just throwing it into the pile of tons of stuff a lot of people have made. And it really is worth it because it gives, people already are like, oh, it's DM Scotty. I trust that guy. I listened to him, I watch his videos. I bet his game is cool. And so then you just give it a shot. Whereas if you just see like, oh, there's another role-playing game, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like, it's hard to grab someone's attention. It's the signal to noise ratio.
Well, especially with something like as consumable as games are, game systems are still asking a lot of a consumer, right? You have to learn those rules.
Yes.
And I feel like it was a really smart marketing strategy for you to be like, easy.
Yes. Because let's face it, people don't have as much time today. I mean, I consider it like almost like a college course to learn some of these games, right?
Yeah.
Like crazy, crazy amounts of rules. And
As 40K player here, yep.
Yeah, you know, right? You know, and you can make a rule for anything, right? But do you need to, right?
Well,
you know
and
what I'm
that's where you
saying?
get
Yeah.
into the discussion of like what's an elegant rule,
Right,
something that is a
right.
philosophy that can be for a lot of different scenarios,
Right.
or are you, in my opinion, band-aiding it by making a specific rule for everything, and then you get that bloat you're talking about.
Right, right. And you know, there's room for every game. I mean, there are people that love things like Pathfinder that's really rule heavy. I call it Mathfinder.
Yeah.
But
The Eve players are like, excuse me, hold my spreadsheet.
yeah, I want rules, damn it. So I feel like, you know, people, you know, like that. Some people like that, and some people, you know, want it easy. They want to just sit down and be able to play without doing tons of homework beforehand. That's one thing that's great about Easy D6 too. It's so easy to prep. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
To get it ready. And if it goes off the rails, if it goes off the tracks, then it's not a problem because it's so easy everything's so easy in the game, right? Like the monsters, you could make up a monster, you know, just right out of your head without looking at any book or anything easily, if you know the game well enough. So that's, you know, it just makes it so much easier to like try. You don't have to worry about armor class and how many hit points this thing has and all this kind of stuff, all these different stats.
Yeah.
You know,
Which
if it's
armor class
strong.
was such an imperfect system anyway. Like I hated that about D.
What are you talking about?
D&D, but
Phaco is the pinnacle of game design.
no, it's like, okay, so you've got huge, bulky, heavily armored guy and like naked ninja, and like they both have the same AC, like they both take the same amount of damage if they get hit. I'm like, what?
Yeah, it's a little too ungranular.
Right, right.
What's the word you'd use for that?
It's low resolution. It's
Yeah.
so War Machine Mark II, the most perfect game system I ever played for a war game, was a 2d6 system. So you always had fairly normalized rolls. It could swing, but it didn't swing as much as a d20 does.
Right. Oh yeah, D20 is like crazy. Yeah.
What existed on a bell curve.
Exactly.
Right? And you would position yourself on that bell curve for probability.
Yes.
And you would have a defense and an armor point. So you could have high defense and low armor or inverse. And so you could maybe get hit and take a lot of hits. That makes sense, like just intuitively.
Right.
Whereas, yeah.
Right.
Well, and to me, it's something like that gives you an inherent set of choices that you now make on a battlefield. Who do you send up against what? Oh, okay, well, this thing's, you know, the Warjack's going to go out in the middle, and, you know, all these guys with power 10 guns, they can shoot at it all day long, and it's not going to do much. And so they know they're protected. Even though every shot's going to hit, it's just not going to do any damage.
Right,
and then you would have certain infantry, like your Kayazi, that would go out there, and you could put a spell on them, and suddenly their defense is through the roof. And so then the enemy's like, oh, well, if we shoot at them, we're not going to hit them. So now we have to figure out a way to drift blast templates over them so that the blast can hit them, even though no individual shot can hit them directly. And it just starts creating actual strategy inherently in the game.
Yeah.
Instead of a lot of special rules interactions, there's just certain inherent interactions.
Yeah.
Right.
You have a better sense of what can survive stuff. Whereas with 40K, you're like, I don't know, maybe. You just send it on the board. Like, I hope there's not a bunch of sixes, and that's that.
I was playing second edition Warhammer, and like I was playing Chaos, and my friend was playing Eldar, and I had a virus grenade.
Oh yeah.
And killed half his army with one grenade.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's right down there with the vortex grenade that you used to.
Yeah, the vortex. Yeah, the miniature black hole, right?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Throw it on the enemy leader and nuke them.
All right, bye.
Yeah. We even played Epic way back.
Oh.
And
Yeah, I played that.
We were playing in this mega game, and I was like Imperials, and my friend was just Space Marines, and he's a Dark Angels fan, so his army was Dark Angels, but he did his whole force in Thunderhawks and Scout Marines.
Yep.
So when those Gargants are like coming across the board to blast us to crap, he just drops his whole army on the Gargants and just melees the Gargants. This guy the guy was not happy.
No, I did that with a friend of mine. The only time I've ever seen him throw dice, like across the room, is I'd loaded up tons of stuff into 2 Thunderhawk gunships. I just flew it across the table, somehow dodged. I forgot what it was. It was like 15 attacks, like shots at it that should have hit it. It was just a fluke of die rolling. Landed at the feet of his one of his Titans, it's like a Warlord Titan or something, and they got out and meleeed it down. And he was just like, "I'm done."
As Hudson Lane says, "Holy hand grenade."
Yeah. 3, no 5, 5, no 3, sir.
Thunderdent had mentioned just earlier, I'm about building the look of the game through terrain. That's just my passion. I let others come up with the rules, which is very fun. I agree. Like, aesthetics are super important, and hopefully the real aesthetic mind can meet up with like the elegant rules maker mind, and you can make something cool.
No, it's it's one of the things that is really interesting about tabletop miniature games that I don't know what else has like it, but it's like you have people in there who don't care, and they just look, I want to roll dice, I want to play a game, whatever. There's other people that are like, I want to study rules, I want to know all of these theories, I want to ball. Then there's other people that are like, I just want to paint stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like somehow all those guys are in the same room playing the same game.
Yeah.
And it's kind of uncommon to run into games or hobbies or anything where the types of people that get into it can be so wildly different in their motivation for playing or being a part of it. And yet there they are.
So true. Yeah.
I like it. So, okay. So I like talking about game design. I don't know. Like you've been sort of passively working on it. What inspired you, I guess? Like you said that Dungeons and Dragons has kind of holes in it, and there's a lot of other game systems. Like, what holes were you feeling like Easy D6 was filling in the market where maybe these other game systems kind of were missing it?
Right. Well, one thing is ease of play, right? Because the easier my goal was that you don't have to look at the book, right?
Right.
And you guys have played with me, and you know that once you get your character and you know it in like 5 or 10 minutes, you never have to really look at the sheet, right? you know what your character can do.
I mean, we haven't looked at the sheet. That's for sure. We're like, what do I have?
It's not like some games where it's like, let's see, what do I got? I can do this on Tuesday at 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock. Some things are really specific in certain games. Okay. So I was going for just ease of play, and the other, and what I call rules breaks, right? Because in a war game, it's not as big of a deal because it's already kind of, the time is chopped up and paused anyway, right? Because you're understanding the flow of time is happening, but you're moving this unit and then you're moving that unit. So it's not as bothersome or worrisome as it is in an RPG. Because the more you're having to look up rules, or you're having to pause the game to check something or whatever, or do something.
You lose your immersion.
It breaks the immersion of the game. Exactly. Yeah. And people are bored, right? Right. I don't have people get on the phone. They don't have time. Like, they don't have time to get on their phone. In a lot of D&D games I've seen, they'll take their turn and they'll be on the phone until it comes 20 minutes. It comes back around.
Oh God, I hate people who do that. I don't like gaming with those people. I've reached the point where if I see people do that, I will point it out and I will end the game if they keep doing it. I'm like, no.
You more deal with that in like board game scenarios, right, Flo?
Yeah, but I mean, it doesn't matter what game you're playing. If a person's just on their phone scrolling and talking to people, then they're not there to play the game. I'm there to play the game.
Well,
I agree.
I would argue that you're also there to be social with other people while playing a game, right?
Yeah, but they're not being social with me if they're on their phone. They're being social with people who aren't there.
True.
Smack.
No, exactly. I think
I
that's
smack
what
you
Brandon
down. Me.
Hey, if I'm hosting a thing and I put together food and all of this stuff for you guys to come over and hang out with me and play a game, I expect you to give me at least some sort of respect and attention.
Oh, I get it. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, and it's like I understand you pull out, you got to reply to the babysitter, you got to reply to like, somebody's asking me this, let me get a thing, and then,
totally.
like that can happen from time to time. But if someone's just sitting there on their
Playing
phone
games
the whole time,
on their
like,
phones.
okay.
Yeah. And I get it because it takes 20 minutes for your turn to come around, right? Like I understand that.
Well, yeah,
So,
and that's sort of the thing. Like I agree with you on that because it's like whenever you see, so a lot of games, Warhammer has kill team. And in my mind, it's like, oh, okay, so now you only have 12 guys total. So this game should fly by. Like it should just be going back and forth, blah, blah, blah. And somehow they managed to still make the game just as long and make the turns just as long. And it's still like, now you're just fiddling with more special rules. And it's like, no, make the game faster. Like I want the game to go. I would love a tabletop miniature game that has a dozen turns in the same amount of time, just because you're just going back and forth. And that pulls you in, I think, more. That pulls you into the story of the game, what's happening. Like it feels more like you're kind of there commanding troops instead of just constantly just flipping through special rules. Like, the idea of the easy D6 system is just like, no, that's what that is. That's what it's kind of like what the RPG version of what Kill Team or Company of Iron or any of those games should be.
Yeah. And nothing in the game was like, oh, I need to cover this situation, I guess I'll make a rule for it. Right?
Yeah.
Everything was totally intentionally thought out, right? So like the game itself is like super simple. Basically, the rabble rouser, which I call the dungeon master called the rabble rouser, they tell you a number to roll, and then you roll however many dice you roll if you have boons or not.
Right.
And if you get the number, you succeed. If you don't, you don't. That's all the game is, right? It's what makes the game special are the rules that are player facing, right? They have karma. If you fail rolls, you get karma and you can spend it on your other rolls to succeed, right? You have a hero die. You can re-roll one die during the game, or you can rebuy it with 5 karma. You have crits, which if you get a 6, you can re-roll. If you get another 6, you just keep
exploding sixes. That's right.
So the exploding, I mean, people at the table screams. Like they get so excited when people get a crit chain.
Yeah, and like when I was attacking the dragon.
Yes. And what's great is when you get, you can use karma on those crit chains to artificially like inflate, the crit chain. So it's just, it just really works. So all those rules are player facing, right? And they give the player a lot of choice. It's like, do I want to hoard my karma for that really spectacular attack or defense? Yeah. Or do I want to just spend it as quick as I get it, right? Which is hard not to, right? If I can succeed this roll and I've got the resource right in front of me, the meta currency to do it, it's hard to resist doing that. It's hard to say, okay, I'll fail it and I'll just take another one, right?
Yeah. And rule of cool, right? Like what scenario has now been set up? Because we were facing vampires at one point. And in this warehouse. So we're like trying to pull these what is it, like action hero moves?
Yeah.
We're like, I'm gonna need you to roll a 6 on that.
Yeah, you guys were getting a little crazy.
I mean, Felix with his smartphone, I throw the phone up and try to take pictures. Hi Jeremy. Also, Jerry, I don't normally run any sort of RPG, so I don't deal with character sheets on games that I play. I play a lot of board games, and I am kind of the rule master when it comes to all the different board games that we play. But I mean, the concept is the same. If you have to look at your page or at your phone for your character sheet, I'd prefer to have a paper sheet in front. That way, it feels better. And I mean, it's something we've discussed in the past before, is like we prefer physical media as opposed to using your phone or an app for anything that we play. That's just a personal preference for a lot
when I play something on the tabletop, I want to forget my phone exists. If at most put some music on your phone and let it play that. But that's it, right? Like
Yeah.
Mhm.
Of course,
your
I'm also
phone.
somebody. Jeremy's comment down here also makes me think of it. But there we go. It makes me think of when I see people driving with cell phones. I'm like, this
Oh
is the one
gosh.
situation where I think cops should be allowed to try to shoot the phone out of your hand if they see it.
Jeez.
It should just be a blanket law. If they see you texting, they should be able to take the gun out, roll down the window, and try to shoot it out of your hand.
Or just have a
'Cause-
taser.
It's arguable. Maybe that's extreme. I don't know, but man, but that's how I feel about cell phones.
Well, cell phones are inherently distracting, right?
They
I
are.
mean, you play 40K and it insists on you basically playing with the app, especially if you're doing any sort of, competitive game where you're also tracking it on like tabletop battles. And so now you're on your phone tracking two separate things, but all your notifications come to your phone. What if you get a call? What if you have a social
Right.
media update? Suddenly, like, you're spending more time looking at it than you are this beautiful table with these miniatures that you put at least dozens of hours into, if not hundreds.
Right.
But I mean,
Yeah,
with your
totally.
system, like Easy D6, you've always used miniatures. I noticed. I love your sets. I love like the stuff that you lay out for it.
Oh, thank you.
Captures the imagination quite well. Do you do a lot with the with like the whole theater of the mind? Do you ever keep it just imaginative, or do
I
you
do.
always-
I
Oh,
do. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes, or I'll mix the two. A lot of times now I'm playing online with people as opposed to sitting at the table. We kind of got in the habit of doing that. And it's just real easy to come sit at your computer and then you're done,
Yeah.
But it's not the group get together, which is fun too. So, but unfortunately, after COVID, we started doing that more.
Yeah.
And, like, it depends like what I'm playing, but or what I'm trying to get across. But often I don't use battle maps. I just use like a picture, like, oh, here's the picture of the old mansion, right, that you're going to, and we're talking. It's all basically theater of the mind with a picture, right?
Oh, okay.
Or,
Okay.
or like an NPC, and I'll put up a
Oh, I love
picture,
that.
So it's not necessarily like complex maps or anything. We'll just like theater of the mind, like, oh, you're going into the living room of the mansion, or and then I may have another picture, one or two more pictures of the interior, and then show those when appropriate or whatever. So yeah, on online, I play a lot different than like at the table, because I love to use terrain at the table, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you built
Yeah.
it all.
Yeah, right.
I'd love to see it.
And I think it's kind of like the fire when you would tell stories, and when ancient man would sit and tell these fantastic stories, there was like the fire that was like the focal point of everything, right? And so when you're playing at the table, the terrain and the miniature world becomes the focal point that you're all focused on, and you're all living in this little teeny world that's in front of you, right?
Yeah.
Your imaginations are firing. You're practically in this little world, right? And it's a really cool feeling. It's a really neat feeling.
It is like you're in this little snow globe, or I don't know, just whatever it is that captures the heart for people.
Right.
In miniatures generally is very exemplified in those scenarios. Because you're
yeah.
right. The world is tiny. It's this little vignette, and you're almost like on a stage, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. It's a miniature
Yeah.
stage.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's how I and I try to present it that way. Because to me, the entertainment value is as good a component as everything else.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure we've had those game masters where it's like, okay, there's another room up on the right. You go in there and it's a 10 by 10. There's a spider web in the corner. Nobody's getting excited, right? Nobody's gonna get excited about that, right?
Bueller.
Yeah. What was the tariffs? Yeah, Bueller. And they're all sitting there.
It's funny. People
half
from
asleep.
was it the last Valhalla or the one before? I don't know how it did, but Ferris Bueller's Day Off was playing on the TV.
Yeah.
And captured, I swear, half the people there. Like by the end of the movie, like half of the whole cabin just sitting there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But it's that guy, right? It makes me think
Yeah.
of just the Bueller. All right, that'll be a roll 2d10. Cool.
I've had very limited experience being a game master, and each time I know that I have a tendency to try and railroad people. So and part of it, how do you keep everything open-ended when your players want to inevitably do insane things?
Right.
See, most people don't realize this. But
Yeah.
I think it was the first time. I think it was the first time Miranda was a GM. She actually sang for the table.
Yeah, I did. I made a haunted house. It was my Halloween special. I really wanted to make a haunted house, and I basically like just ripped off a bunch of puzzles from like Silent Hill 2 and Resident Evil. Because I really, really, really wanted to make a Resident Evil house.
Yeah.
Good times.
Yep.
So now, putting all this aside, though, to get down to the real important things, I don't know if GM Scotty knows about the good word of the creator of man, Menoth, but Andrew Fairbanks would like to tell us all about it.
Dang it, Andrew! Stop representing war budgies when he's not here.
So, for those who aren't familiar with the War Machine lore, he'll tell you all about it.
True.
Just go in the chat and ask him how.
So Jeremy says theater of the mind up until you have an encounter. So how important is miniature placement for the purpose of combat, and how do you handle combat and prevent it, or do you, from being like most of the game session?
Right. My kind of philosophy is that I try to keep it roughly equal to the 3 pillars of the game, which are exploration, combat, and role play. So if you keep those roughly equal, you'll have a satisfying session. But like it's pretty much impossible to keep them totally equal. You can't do that. One's going to be heavier than the other. Sometimes it's more role play. Sometimes it's more, combat. But I always manage to get all 3 in, because like finding out information and cool stuff is just fun in the game, right? Or discovering stuff, that first time or whatever. It's it's really fun in the games. It's really fun in the games. How many times it killed me?
There's a fan of yours on the channel.
And Easy 6
is lethal.
It is lethal, and it seems more lethal than it would be. It seems more lethal than it would be.
Does it exceed the number of fingers that DM Scotty has?
It seems more lethal than it would be, but you have a lot in your corner, right? Because you have armor saves. You get to roll armor saves, and you can use karma to boost those saves, right? So even though you only have 3 strikes and you're dead, you do have options. But it's like, there's no like roll when you die, you roll saving throws to see if you're alive, and you're dead. Like you take on a strike, you're dead,
Yeah. Wow, Andrew.
So yeah, it's not mansy pansy on the death, right? It's like if you you get like 15 different saves. No, it's like no, you take the last strike, you're dead. But
So
it's surprising. The characters are surprisingly resilient.
Yeah.
So there's an interesting video I saw kind of recently. Trying to remember who to attribute it to, but I don't remember off the top of my head. But he had an interesting topic that he was going over about how much players should look at their own character sheets. It was just kind of the topic in general. And trying to remember where he had seen it from, but essentially there was the talk of for the first few sessions, you work with your player, you ask them the questions, you fill out you help them fill out the character sheet or whatever, then they hand it to you and they never see it again. And the DM would just tell the player, I wouldn't even give them numbers. He would always just be like, yeah, you're bleeding, but you still feel good. Or yeah, like you're really lightheaded. There's blood everywhere. Like they would never say how many hit points you had, or in fact, they would never even remind you, even if you ask, well, how many hit points do I have total? It's like, you don't remember. So you have a lot, you're pretty tough. and so it would force his argument is that it would force his players to just always keep thinking about the game narratively instead of just trying to, play the game instead of play the adventure.
Right.
And so
right.
it was, I don't know if that's the best way. And that was kind of his thought too, is that it's an interesting exercise, but it is an interesting exercise,
It is to separate that kind of game mechanic thinking,
Yeah.
From like the game itself.
Right.
One issue I have with that though is, I call it, I think you have a certain amount of RAM in your head, right?
Some have
Like a
more than
computer.
others.
And the more crap that you have to deal with in a game, the more you're taking away from your creativity, right? Because I like to see what the players are throwing at me, maybe not realizing it, and taking it and using it, right? I'm always fishing for player tidbits, like comments or things they do or say, and play off of that. So if you've got all these little things that you have to think about, I feel it's taking away from the other thing, right?
Mhm.
It's taking your attention away because you're worried about all these micromanaging all these mechanics. And I
Well,
feel that's what that could become. You're trying to tell a great story, but you're also having to work all the characters, right? And keep track of all the characters, and then translate the rules to the characters. Oh, you're bleeding, but you're okay. You're gonna survive, but you're not feeling great. You're bleeding. You know what I'm saying? Like, what levels of, to get across that you're about to die, kind of thing, or you're great, you're hale, So yeah.
I was going to say, could you do something like in Resident Evil? You don't have hit points. You run around the game and you get hit and your heart starts beating a little faster and you have a green, a little EKG and then a yellow and then a red. Like, what if you were to be like a color code for your health?
Oh yeah.
Would that be?
Yeah. But essentially it's the same thing as having health, right?
Yeah.
You're just labeling it different and describing it differently, right? So like in Easy D6, you have 3 hearts, right? And you're dead. Yeah. 3 strikes and you're dead. So what's the difference between that and having a green health level, an orange health level, and a red health level? You know what I'm saying?
True.
Yeah. It's exactly the same thing, right?
Unless you added like a mechanic on top of that, like if you're 1 health level left, you really don't feel good. You're not jumping as far. You're not. But I don't know if you want to death spiral someone that way.
And that's when Miranda takes her phone out and plays the audio file of the little beeping from Legend of Zelda. When you have
my gosh, the critical heart sound.
Yes. I mean, I'm not a fan of that because it's something else to track for one thing. Oh, they're -2 because they're whatever.
By the way,
I'm not a fan
of that.
I have some. Oh, there you go. Oh,
my souvenirs.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
the hearts. Yeah.
Speaking of the hearts.
Yep.
Karma. Yeah.
Little pin.
Oh, wow.
And then my.
Oh, Easy D6 dice.
Yep.
Oh, how cool is that?
Those actually have an Easy D6 side. Show them.
Yeah, that's right.
I think these ones don't. I might in another one.
Oh,
this is an older one.
Oh, okay.
So it might have been before that.
Gotcha.
I don't have them in Brenner's.
Well, there's a web series that I was watching on YouTube a while back called AFK.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about these players that would play an MMORPG, and then one day they woke up as their characters in the RPG.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So, at one point, there's a scene where he's like, "Oh, well, we're trying to get to this place, and I know a shortcut." And they're like, "Okay, cool." And they go up to it, and it's a cliff. And they're like, "Okay, how do we get down?" He's like, "Well, easy. I would normally just come up to here and just throw my character off the cliff, and it didn't take away enough hit points to kill him. And then I would get up, heal, and then ride off." And they're like, "We're not throwing ourselves off a cliff." And it makes me think of that, right? If you get gamey about it, then it gets ridiculous,
Yeah.
And they're like, "No, we're in real life now. We'll feel that. No, we're not doing it." And so that kind of creates the separation of like tracking numbers instead of tracking what your character really would or wouldn't do in a situation.
Right.
True.
But
Jeremy
like
giving
in
us
these
some-
hero movies and stuff, like these people take so much punishment. Any normal person would be like, wouldn't be able to move. They've been shot 15 times, and they're like, and they're like barely slowing down, right? I mean, that's how I think of heroes, right? That they can just take
right.
until they drop, right? It's like until they're good to go until that last moment when they finally take that punishing blow that drops it, right? And that's how I like to think of it.
Well, really, what's happening with an action hero is that as their human blood is leaving their body, it's just being replaced with adrenaline.
Oh,
And
yeah,
so,
exactly.
then they just function even better as the movie goes on.
Who needs blood?
Jeremy giving us crap in the chat. So we're in an IK, Iron Kingdoms RPG. Privateer had a game system, and it was originally a D20 system from D&D, and then they made their own system, which was a 2D6 bell curve system, and now it's back to like a 5th edition compatible one. So we're playing the 2D6 system.
Oh, gotcha. Cool. Yeah.
And Jeremy's our game master, and he allegedly keeps setting up these really amazing scenarios, and our characters just keep refusing to walk into them.
That sounds about right.
That's why you don't give them a choice. He doesn't have it happen.
No, railroading's okay. This is what I'm hearing. Okay, good. I'm glad.
Well, it's like, okay, you discover that the people who've ransacked this castle, they've traveled over this direction. Do you want to follow it? And I'm like, well, there's 4 of us, so if they took out a whole castle, no.
That's when they get attacked.
Arrows from the woods.
Yeah, that's when they get attacked by the guards. Or the party that's been tracking and hunting them.
Right.
There you go. See? So what we're saying, Jeremy, is do better. I mean, we love you.
Just do it. Don't wait for the
like, I'm going to kill all y'all now. No, it's really fun. So like as far as your settings then, like I think all of the settings I've ever played with you have always been urban. Do you do medieval stuff though, or
Oh, totally,
others
yeah.
like that?
Oh yeah, no,
exactly.
his actual campaigns that we do during Valhalla, a few of those have been medieval as opposed to.
Yeah.
Is when I brought Brenner.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brenner and his mule Peckass.
Yeah, because the first one I ran was D&D. When I came the first time, it was D&D that I ran. But I didn't have all the terrain and miniatures because I was on the plane. I couldn't take all that stuff. So I basically made short videos and put them on a TV of like the scenes happening in the or pictures. But
we
every
still
time
really
since
got
I've
into
driven
it.
out, so I've had all my terrain and miniatures and everything. But the second game I did was, or the second time I did was it was the world where the players got shunted off. Their enemy sent them to this dying world, and it's like this desert world, and they're like
New Mexico.
Yeah.
Well, Brenner came back for that one, so he just didn't get to bring Peckass with him.
And so they end up finding this like safe zone, that's magically protected. And so that this was all this weirdness going on. And they find out they had to escape because basically the world was gonna be destroyed. Because what they were doing was these 2 sorceress sisters were like, and they had mutated beyond humans. They were just like these totally, they couldn't even speak anymore. They were just so mutated that their minions just knew their wishes.
Death gods.
Right? Yeah, and the 2 sisters hated each other, so their forces were just constantly fighting, and that's what there was like a free town where the other people would go, and that's why they weren't destroyed, because the 2 sisters were fighting each other. But anyways, they had set up this thing to power, because they had essentially drained all the magic out of their world, kind of like what's that D&D campaign with the Dark
spell
Sun,
plague,
like Dark Sun. They had drained all the magic out of the world essentially. And so now they were pulling it, from the moon. And so the moon was going to crash into the planet and destroy the planet because
I saw that movie.
And basically what happened was these micrometeors would rain down called moonstone. And the players discovered it, right? And they start eating it, and their characters are getting the magic user characters are getting charged up, and they're like, oh, this is great. And then they run into these people that are like, oh, they found out these two sorceress sisters have just been ingesting this moonstone, and now they're like total mutants. They're not even human anymore, right? They're just blobs, right? So they're like, oh, and other people are like, maybe you shouldn't eat so many of those.
They kept eating them.
They did.
I didn't. I don't think I ate any though.
No, you didn't. You didn't.
I would
It was
say
mostly
that's
the
when you-
magic using characters.
That's when you introduce the new mechanic called addiction, where now they feel compelled to keep ingesting moonstones.
I didn't make them. It was their choice. So the one guy,
Or they thought it was their choice.
well, that's it. But he just dangled his tasty out there. But the one guy had it was funny. He had a familiar that was like a severed head, like a zombie head, and it would like whisper evil things to him, and it'd be like, "Oh, give me some of that moonstone." Yeah. It was like, "No, you are not getting this moon." No. And so at the end, when they completed their mission and they were swirling in this portal back to their home world, he mutated the head because he had eaten so much moonstone. The zombie head attached to his body. And it's like, now I control you.
Oh my gosh.
And then his other head atrophied down to this little nub, like a
Shrunken
wart,
head.
right?
So what
And
you're
the
saying
zombie head
is,
like took over his body.
so what you're saying is, it is like addiction.
Yeah,
Yes.
totally. Because he wouldn't.
Oh
They kept warning him
no, our
like,
friend.
"Don't be eating this stuff," and he kept doing it. He's like, "Oh, one more time." And
There's a
so-
lesson learned in there. I think. Grow so much from these sorts of experiences. Spidey
Right.
Sense says social interaction should always be the priority. Complex games
Yes.
focus so much
Mhm.
on rules, boundaries, or dice rolling that social fun becomes secondary. Casual players, friends, and family tune out.
That's true.
Right.
Yeah.
It generally
like-
depends on your audience, right? I'm sure you get
It
plenty.
does, yeah.
Yeah.
It does. But I have people that play with me that are like, won't play with anybody else because it's like they feel intimidated by the rules
Yeah.
and they feel dumb because
Yeah.
when you're playing with somebody who's min-maxed their character, right? And they're playing like optimal character, right?
Right.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
really playing a role-playing game, just playing optimal character. These people feel intimidated because they don't know all those tricks and rules, right? But there's no tricks. There's no min-maxing in EZD6, right? I mean, you can't physically make a character that's min-max. So it's like you can choose things that kind of give a synergy of a character, but it's not like D&D where like one character is doing 20 damage and the other character is doing 300. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, there's no that kind of min-maxing. So, you just basically tell me what you do and I tell you what to roll. That's it. So it's not intimidating. You don't have to know all these rules. There's no.
And to be fair, you're the only one I do any role playing with. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it's like whenever we play Darktide, it has this entire talent system built into it. And honestly, with those, I'm like, I don't care. And I just go, that looks good. All right, done. I'm done. It's like I go in the game. I'm pretty competent. I play pretty well. And that's it. I don't care beyond that. It's like I don't want to read. I'm not going to websites. I'm not doing any of that. I just don't care. I just want to go in and run around a Hive City and like have ridiculous banter. With,
I just
like,
got
the
that
other
game,
player
by
in
the way.
Oh, really?
Oh, you should play with us.
It was on sale.
You should play with us. That game is a blast.
Cyber Monday.
It is a blast. It's a little intense. Like you don't, you're in the Morning Star, which is the ship, and then you launch for your mission, and then it's just go with your hair on fire as fast as possible for like 20 minutes. And then at the end, you're like, let's
That's
do it
basically
again.
like Vermintide, where it's just like they just don't stop, right?
That's exactly
Yeah,
right.
same developers, right? Vermintide,
Yeah.
I would argue, is more relaxed than Darktide, though.
Oh wow! Oh my god!
I agree with you, Spidey Sense. It is not fun waiting 2 hours or forever on your opponent, which is the argument I have against a whole. Is it I go, you go? No, it's the whole turn, the whole army versus the whole army.
Yeah, it's
Or
I go,
move
you go.
That is I go. Oh,
Yeah.
in the alternate
Versus
activations, yeah.
alternate, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So
I
that
go, you
that
go.
is.
Oof.
Whew. That can be a lot, which you don't get in an RPG. Do you play games other than RPGs? I mean, other than video games, Scotty?
Oh yeah. I play video games, and I play a lot of board games too.
Okay.
Yeah. I tend to be on the kind of easier side because my family likes to play, and so I don't play like, the crazy 3-hour board games or anything.
You don't play any Nemesis or Witcher Old World,
You're right,
We leave those to the flow.
I'll play the more, the saner games, without all the rules for them. But I have played the other game. I played the other game. They're fun. Yeah, board games fun. But I love role playing so much that it's just, I used to war game a lot more. But because at one point I had my stepson in it, a couple friends, my father, my stepbrother, and we would all get together and like have massive battles. We'd have different, like Imperials and Eldar and stuff teamed up, and Marines teamed up against Orcs, and and Dark Eldar and stuff. So we would, we get together and play, and that was fun. But as I've gotten older, it's just like, it's harder to get together. It's harder for me to get together to do that. And the time I would get together to do that, I'd kind of rather role play. You know what I'm saying?
Like you enjoyed the story of the game more than
dice. Yeah. I enjoy the story and just the immersion. When it's all working, we're all feeling it. And we're all into the story. It's just there's no feeling like it. It's hard for anything to come close. Like books or movies, yeah, but that's a set story. You're not.
It is, yeah.
You're not the star of the story. You're not making the story. You're not creating.
Choose your own adventure books, right?
Yeah.
I was about to ask. You read those growing up?
Yes.
And video games kind of give that, but they don't give you that total freedom. Like if you mention something and I pick up on it in the game's not going to do that. A video game's not going to do that, at least not yet. It's a special thing that's just, it's hard to replicate with anything else, really.
I'm getting a very subtle hint to shamelessly plug my wargaming merchandise.
Well, I was going to say, before we switch over to showing people's painted miniatures that they've posted, we should promote. I think this is linked below, right?
It should be linked in the video description.
Yeah, so we have some t-shirts that if you'd like to support Wargamer Girl, this is a good way to do it.
It's true.
There's Wargamer Girl shirts, there's non-Wargamer Girl shirts, but they're all wargaming
related. Adjacent.
Very cool.
So.
Or y'all could buy some tickets and join us at Valhalla.
Yes, please.
Come play some actual games.
Play with
DM
me.
Scotty. Yeah.
I promise you'll not be disappointed.
See, you can even buy a mug that you can drink your paint water out of accidentally.
True.
I need to get one of those mugs because my mug is not Wargamer Girl specific. So.
I put a lid on mine, so then I can't possibly. I can't possibly put my paintbrush in it.
You're like, don't do it.
I put my cup far enough away that I have to reach for it.
There you
Otherwise,
go. Yeah.
There we go. I fixed my merchandise store. For some reason, the wrong link was in there, so sorry about that. Now it's working.
Oops.
So good at this. Oh, Andrew, you should just be on the show at some point if you want to advertise something. But yeah, okay. But before we hop into, so yes, check out the store because it's pretty awesome. And Disembodied Voice worked hard on those pictures. But before we jump into the pictures that everyone was wonderful about putting up on my Facebook, since DM Scotty, you are such a fan of the story and like being involved in the world, very important question. Mm-hmm. Do you LARP?
No, the question is, do you even LARP, bro?
Do you even LARP?
I laugh because no, I don't. I mean, I like to dress up, but I don't I did LARP one time for a friend who was doing a special birthday party for their son who wanted to do a LARP. And so I was the bad guy.
Well, that
I
just
was like the big bad, but it was funny. Like they couldn't hit me because I had a special shield or something, so they had to kill my minions, basically, the people that were protecting me, protecting me. And I was throwing spells. You know how you throw like bean bags or whatever. I was throwing spells.
Oh
at
my
them.
god.
So
I always use
that
golf
was
balls.
fun, but I've never really. I don't really have any interest in getting hit. I like to pretend, to fight and get hit. I don't actually like to get hit. So that has never appealed to me. But my daughter is into it. My daughter has some
cool.
friends who are really into it, and she gets into it too. So, yeah.
I always want to be into it, but I haven't found too many opportunities for it yet. Working on it.
There is a group here we ran across that does post-apocalyptic.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like a Mad Max sort of thing. It's a semi big one. There's a website for it and everything. I forgot what it's called now, but we ran into some of those folks, and so we just carving out time to go out and do that.
Yeah, because because it's even different than coming to someone's house and playing a war game or doing an RPG. It's like you're sitting at the table, you're all in the same place. There, you got to go out and get the whole rigmarole, your suit on, your clothes, and all this whole
right.
So it's there's a lot. There's more to it. It's not just.
It's just
yet on your character sheet. It's on you.
Even the costume and everything is just yet another hobby on top of a pile of other hobbies.
Mm-hmm.
So that can be a challenge.
Right.
It sounds fun. It's just time,
Yeah. But yeah,
As if sewing isn't already a wargamer girl hobby.
All right. Shall we take a look at some of the beautiful minis that people posted during our stream here?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Let me see if I can share this correctly. Aha! It's presumably working. All right. So this is from Dexter.
That's cool.
Yes. Very cool dudes in the front. I love the whole diorama setup. It definitely sets the pace. You get the Revenant vibes out of it.
Yeah, that is awesome.
It is. Yeah, great picture with the going back.
Well, I love the ground that he has there. Like it's uneven and kind of really textured. Looks really cool.
Yeah, and the comment is that he was building snow terrain. So that's what this was.
Well,
and then here's like an above, like a drone shot basically of it too.
Neat.
Which is fun with the depth of field from the trees. I like what Voice does a lot with our when we have terrain set up, where he'll make the plate that's the ground of it, but then the trees are just on top, like they set on top, and then you can just move them around as you need, so that they're not locked in place where your mini's like trying to shuffle through all awkwardly.
Well, especially for anything like a vehicle, like a tank can roll through a forest. It just knocks trees down usually, and you can kind of replicate that really. Yes, as you put vehicles or war jacks or something, they just sort of move the trees away as they walk through it.
Oh,
right. True.
Yes. I guess those are face paint on there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, the war paint's neat.
It is really cool. So good job, Dexter. Love the look there. So here's some stuff that Jerry's posted.
Oh.
So let me see if I can.
Oh, fun.
I love the design.
Conversion from a confrontation mini and a Reaper mini named Roarbrig. Hope I said that right. Yeah, I love this guy.
I forgot what he's called. He's a D&D guy. He's a little fungus people.
Myconoid, is that it?
Is it Myconoid?
Something like that.
But yeah, like that guy's great.
And then she looks pretty cool. I love the work on the loincloth dress part. Like that looks like freehand.
Yeah, that's impressive. Yeah, how small that is.
It's about a bunch of pointel work right there.
Yeah.
Mike
cross-eyed doing that one.
Whew, that's beautiful. Yeah, a lot of our minis are a lot more rudimentary by comparison. Okay, so another one from Jerry, a gargoyle.
Look at his wings.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh,
yeah.
There's like a moon and a whole little landscape painted into it.
Oh, dude, that's beautiful. Ooh, And I love the multicolor on the stone facing.
Very neat.
Learned a bit about that from Voice here when we were painting stonework for another project.
when we were building sets. We were making stone walls out of foam, and it's like, how do you make that look real? And kind of learned a lot of different stuff on it. It's actually really cool. So when it's well done on this.
Very beautiful wing work as well.
Yeah.
And then another one from Jerry. This one is
Neat.
Oh, yeah.
Conversion from Reaper and Green Stuffed, named Kareen. Not Karen, so that you like her.
This mermaid is more likely to sing to the manager.
It's very beautifully done as well.
Very cool. Very
And
cool.
then we've got another winged. What is he? He's a conversion from Reaper and Confrontation named Josiah.
I
Nice.
like the patina on his shield.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's nice work there. And the basing, of course. I always argue that a mini never looks fully painted until it's based.
Yeah, I agree.
Unfortunately. And then this one's a really beautiful one. Like, clearly a lot of work and attention.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah, and the necessary underboob.
Absolutely. Anima
Fantastic.
Tactics paint up named Nahimana. The mini's wearing a bikini bottom, no pants. I just painted them on. So also quite
Oh, wow.
impressive.
Wow, nice.
That is
Yeah.
really cool. Like, well
Yeah,
done.
very.
A little sarong, really beautiful like flower work on that. Good night.
Yeah, that's super impressive.
So do you paint competitively, Jerry? Like, do you submit to? Oh yeah, see, there's some of the lettering and everything.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, amazing.
Such a great butt. I'm allowed to say that, right? Anyway,
Of course.
I don't know. If I point out the underboob, you're probably allowed to mention
this one's a little more obvious. Not just under boob. Reaper Mini, I sent out in a paint and trade. Okay. I've never messed with any of those. She looks really good.
I've never done anything like that either.
Like the gradient work on the green cloth is really good.
Well, wait, what is that?
Oh,
A
yeah.
paint and trade?
Paint and
Like-
trade. So I assume that's a miniature swap.
So you paint something and so does someone else, and then you just give them to each other? Or is it more people involved in that, and it's like a broader thing? Or I don't know. I've never heard of that. That sounds cool.
I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that gets done on like Reddit forums where people do like Secret Santa stuff. So I feel like there's probably like communities where you would do stuff like that, even outside of local. But wow, there's a dryad.
We don't do Reddit.
I agree with JP. And then another one from Jerry. This guy, gosh, this freehand work is blowing my mind.
Yeah, fantastic.
It's like it makes me want to go work on minis, but then on the other hand, I'm like, I'm not going to do that. But yeah, like the attention to the filigree work. I will say if a mini has stuff sculpted on it, I do try to pick out all that detail with like dry brushing or going over it. But the freehand stuff, whew, that is.
Yeah, it's tricky, especially. At
Well,
that
that's a
scale.
tricky thing when you're doing commissioned work like I do. A lot of that freedom of like what you want to put on things kind of goes away. You don't get to do just whatever you want. You really just follow what people tell you they want.
Right.
True.
I mean, but like my little cross arrows and the lightning bolts and stuff like that on the white scars, I freehand all of those because I hate decals. So let's just cut straight to it. I hate decals. That's why it's like that.
So you'd rather
This is
paint it
JP Got Rocket's work. A lot of edge
Yeah,
highlighting
that's
here.
cool. Well, I like the gradients across that stuff.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah,
Like that's actually really cool.
and all the grime inside the tank tread. Like, I love it. He made another one. Yeah, here's like the other side of it. I think got Mr. Dude in there. It looks illustrated.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It
It
got
does.
a little cool comic look to it or something. And then another one from JP. Here's a dragon.
Cool.
He's doing a dive bomb. He's gonna get you. Love it.
I think he just tripped over something. That's what I think.
He's just falling. I love it. Like tons and tons of little detail in there.
No, that's
So
some cool movement he has in there.
yeah, it doesn't need
Yeah,
sculpt,
very dynamic.
And he doesn't even need a tactical rock. They're just like, nope, here, a stem. He's gonna do that. Oops.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah. Wait a minute. What is that creature called?
Chimera.
Oh yeah. I can't ever hear that word without thinking of Alex Jones, where it's like, they're making chimeras.
We're making chimeras.
Chimera.
That's all I hear anytime I hear chimera. Ugh, evil goats, the most evil of all the heads on there.
Yeah.
The lion, the dragon, don't worry about those. It's the goat.
Yeah.
Evil goat. There we go. JP said it was Puff, this clumsy dragon. And then Thomas, with absolutely amazing work.
that's
Also a
cool.
competitive painter.
Always.
Look at that OSL. I love it.
Wow.
The OSL's cool on that one.
And then we've
I
got
love the
some-
little pink purple like symbol on the ground glowing. That's neat.
Oh
It
yeah.
is. It is.
Thomas, he always brings it. Undead minis recently painted for Mordheim.
Oh,
Which
that's fun.
man is a game I think we need to just make it come back.
I mean, it's in a way, it's never gone, right?
Yeah,
those
that
are
really
the
isn't.
True.
Very healthy.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised it hasn't had another edition.
Oof, Thomas, man, thank you everyone who shared your minis tonight. I super appreciate it. I was a little bit impromptu, but I've been kind of meaning to share that because you guys do a wonderful job whenever like this is paint and chat. So we're chatting about stuff, but obviously I'm not working on anything. But if you are and enjoying,
That's what she asked me for. The
Exactly.
obligatory work mule, pack mule.
Flo paints and we chat.
She's my painting legitimacy arm of the conversation. But yeah, those look so good. Those are always really inspiring too. And
Yeah,
I mean, I guess
totally.
with you, what you're working on, Scotty, like you're doing game systems, and do you still do DMing for hire, or is that still a thing?
Not individually, no.
Okay.
I'll
for
get hired.
events.
I'll get hired by conventions or whatever to do.
Mm.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I don't do it. Yeah, I've
So
thought
I
about
wanted to
it.
see about
I've
getting
thought
you out for Nova.
I have thought about it. Maybe when I retire.
You can have a cool like dungeon, like a room in your house or the garage or something. It's like converted to like a.
I would say
Like
like a
a
house
cave.
dungeon. Usually that has a different connotation.
I do have a game room that I completed just before COVID.
Oh, nice.
And we did get to play in it some, but I haven't used it much since. But yeah, I did like stonework, around the room, painted it on the wall.
Oh, that's cool.
The door is like looks like a dungeon door. Like I painted it rough and there's scratches on it. JP, no, I won't be at Origins this year. Unfortunately. I got a couple things coming up, so with
Like
my day job,
Valhalla.
I gotta have enough vacation time.
That's right. You want to play with DM Scotty, you come to Valhalla. That's
Yes.
how it works.
That's true. Play to your heart's content. Oh, it's so fun.
It
good
is.
time.
It is. I can't
So
wait.
Valhalla has funded, and
Yes.
but there are still
There are a couple of
and
rooms, yeah.
bunks and things like that are open.
Yes,
So feel
There
free
are Valhalla
to-
shirts that you could be getting.
yeah.
this is true.
And so if anyone would like to come and play and just live in a cabin for 5 days and play role-playing games with Scotty and play tabletop games up in the game room and
And eat amazing food.
And they have
playing-
every board game known to man. So if you're into board games and not
Yeah.
into board games,
That's
You
Flo's
can-
realm.
That's my realm.
oh gosh, there's like half a dozen people who bring their entire library every year. And so there's just
Okay, I cannot
of games
physically do that
everywhere.
anymore. I don't have enough space in my car to carry all the board games we own.
We'll figure
that-
something
plus
out.
there's a large, like a very large hot tub up on the balcony on the edge that people hang out at, and an entire indoor pool that we play sports ball in.
Football. So, what is the Green Dragon Fest thing again?
And the food is fantastic.
Yes, Danielle, we do have a chef that comes and stays with us, and breakfast, lunch, and dinner are all just covered. You just eat whatever you want. It's great.
So the green dragon thing is actually just after Valhalla this year.
Oh.
So it's gonna be interesting because I'll be doing Valhalla and then almost directly going to the Green Dragon. But Green Dragon is this place in it's ancient lore village in Knoxville, Tennessee, and it's kind of a great thing. Like it's an alternative to like Dungeons and Dragons in a castle, because that's like mega expensive, right? You gotta take the plane to England, and I mean that's just like super expensive, right?
Yeah.
Green Dragon Fest is kind of a step down from that definitely down from that as far as price, but it's like a whole fantasy village, right? It's really, really cool. It's almost like Hobbiton or something. And it's super cool. So there's that. You get to stay on premises there, and they serve meals and everything, which is cool because the game masters get to like come and hang out with the guests and everything, and they're like every one of these game masters is like top of the line game master, right?
Oh man.
There's Professor Dungeon Master there.
Hey, there's Scotty.
Yeah.
Look at that.
So I do you guys like competitively DM where you're like, no, my team is gonna somehow win against your team?
We didn't do that, but what we did was we tried to theme our games to Green Dragon. So we all had like something with the Green Dragon, right?
Yeah.
Which was fun. So basically what I did was I had a Green Dragon at the end, but the dragon was dying. Like the king had said to players to kill the dragon, but the dragon was dying and saying, "Oh, they're stealing all our treasure," blah blah blah. So basically, when they get there, the dragon's dying at the end, and like a hatchling is happening. And so basically, what happens is the dragon's consciousness moves into the child, right? And so the child has all the knowledge and every skills of the.
Wait a minute, should we be having spoiler alerts here?
That was last time we said.
And no, there's no spoiler. But anyways, so it turned out to be like the king's wizard wanted the players to get there because he knew the dragon was dying, and he was going to like drain the dragon's soul out and give himself ultimate power. So this ends up like a double cross kind of situation. It was a lot of fun, but every game master had something with a green dragon in it. This year we're going to have something with the green dragon, but it's not going to be like an actual green dragon. Like it might be an organization that's called the Green Dragon, or maybe it's a monster, that they call the Green Dragon. It's not a dragon, So anything you want to do, but it can't be like an actual dragon. Because last year we all did like an actual dragon, right?
Everyone wanted a dragon.
Even though mine was just kind of a story element, it wasn't really. They didn't fight the dragon.
Wow.
So
the leprechaun lair. How many days is it?
It's a whole weekend.
1 to 4. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
1 to the 4th.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty.
Yeah.
So really, you just come up with a situation where they come across a wagon that they have to bring back, but it doesn't have any wheels on it, but it's painted green, and so they call it the Green Dragon.
Right.
And then the other thing you said you were working. Is it okay to say? Were you working on a book? You're working on something.
Oh yes, I am. I'm at that stage where I'm finishing up on the 4th EZD6 book, the horror book. So it's going to be EZD6 Dreadful Doomscapes, and the other books kind of have I call them play sets. So the other books kind of have the single play set in it. This one's going to have 2. This one's going to have Everyday Nightmares, which you guys have helped me play test, which is basically just normal people thrown in a bad situation, like a horror movie, exactly like a horror movie. So it's going to be like that. And instead of karma, I have stress. So your character can take stress, and if they get 3 stress, they take a strike, right? Mm-hmm. So you're killing you can modify your rolls, but you're killing yourself by doing it, right?
That's right. I remember that.
Remember that?
Uh-huh.
But it's very tempting to do that. If it's like the difference between something horrible happening or taking a strike, it's like your character getting wiped out or taking a strike. So I'm going to have that. And then the second part is it's Monster Hunters. So kind of like our vampire hunters that we did with the vampire game.
Yeah.
And these are called Dreadborn hunters, but I've added to it. So basically, they can drain the energy from monsters that they slay, and they can save those points and then buy monster powers like mutations that they can sprout claws or wings.
Wait
or
a minute, I'm
fangs.
getting Moonstone flashbacks.
But you're getting good beginning Moonstone vibes, because the more you get at the end of the game, you have to roll dice, and if you roll all ones on those dice, your character turns into a monster and you're out of the game.
Oh no, I'd be dead first turn.
Now when you only have one or two, it's really easy not to roll because you're rolling 6 or 5 dice, right? But when you have 6 mutations, you're rolling 1 die, and it's really easy to roll a 1 on a d6 with a,
It's really easy to roll all ones with at least 4 d6s.
Right.
So Patty is
yeah. So the more you get, the more chancy it is.
Yeah.
He says, "Are you doing a Kickstarter for it?"
No, there won't be a Kickstarter. It'll just come out. It'll just be done and it'll come out.
So will it also be in the in that page I pulled up earlier?
It'll be at the Runehammer game store. Yep.
The
Okay.
Runehammer. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And-
Runehammer. Brandon is going to produce it, and he's built all the books. He's done all the art design for all the books and everything.
So what's the best place to follow you, so that they know when this game is released? So if anyone's interested in this and they want to know when it comes out, how do they follow you so that they can find out?
I have a Discord. There's also an EZD6 Facebook group. And there is the Tabletop Crafters Guild, which I'm on a lot. But yeah, I have a Discord. It's called DM Scotty server. And there's a lot of EZD6 stuff on there, like fan stuff that people do. There's also a lot of stuff on Drive-Thru that some fans have started to do. One guy did kind of a historical, I think it's a 30 Years War historical like game based on EZD6.
Okay.
Cool.
Which I thought was very interesting. So yeah, just showing the variety you can do. Another guy did a spy game, like a James Bond type game based on EZD6. So
Okay.
yeah, very cool. So very cool. And because I have an open license, you can use
neat.
my system to make supplements or modules or your own games like the ones I just said.
So I think I found the group EZD6 RPG. So
Yeah, that's it.
That's right. I can be my own guy and share. Oh my God, that place in Knoxville looks beautiful. What a little fantasy.
And then I'm on the DM's Craft. I don't really do crafting videos much anymore, but we did do little ornament thing this year, which was kind of fun. I did a little Krampus ornament, like a snow globe almost. But we did a little crafting thing there. But normally what I'm posting on there now is like EZD6 stuff. So that's a good way to keep up with my EZD6 stuff too. But yeah, the Facebook group and the Discord.
Discord. Yeah. A lot of people seem to use Discord anymore. Like I've grown into being slightly competent at it, but running a server feels really complicated.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. It's nice to have help, but it's a great way to get questions and stuff answered, really quickly.
True.
Because people are on there with all the same interests and they can answer. If I'm not on there, usually someone else can answer the questions, because I've got people on there helping me that have helped me play test, intensely play test EZD6. So they know all the rules by heart. They know all the rules inside and out. So they're on there. They'll help. And
is it the DM Scotty? Is it just one Discord you've got?
Yeah.
Okay, then I'm in it, so I can share that if you like.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
I'm in it also.
Cool. Yeah, but it's a great place to find out info. But yeah, the horror book, it's so great. It's gonna be so great. And it was interesting because I was working. You kind of have those epiphany moments with mechanics, right? One of my biggest epiphanies was with the spell casting system in EZD6, how it works, like how it's kind of a mini game on its own, and it makes it feel different than like swinging a sword or doing other actions, right?
Yeah.
but also you don't have to do all this huge amount of bookkeeping. That's the thing I hate about spellcasting. It's like you can never make a spellcaster as quickly as you can make other characters because it takes so long to choose the spells. You got to choose a certain number of spells. It's like being a mini accountant. You got to be an accountant for all your spells, right?
Right.
But with EZD6, you choose a circle of sorcery, and you can cast anything basically within that circle. So if you're a necromancer, anything to do with raising the dead or questioning the dead or whatever you can think of that comes within that. Like I just played a game, and there was a guy who was a necromancer, and there was a trap that was a ball of skeletons. And there was a sloped hall that it was above, right? It was above this nook, this big nook above the hall that would fall down and then roll after you right down the hall.
Indiana Jones style.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So he was a necromancer. He's like, well, can I just shatter this? Cause the bones to shatter? I'm like, of course you can. I said, it's going to be hard, but you can do it. So nice. That's when you roll the resistance. You roll how many resistance dice, and he just got lucky and rolled really well and, did it. So, like in a game like D&D, say, you pick your spells and you always pick the wrong damn spells. It's not the spells you need.
Always.
It's like, I wish I would have picked that other spell, damn it.
Prestidigitation. We're always good with that one.
But you don't have that problem in my game because you can just make it up. As long as you can make it fit within that circle of sorcery, right? It can work. So that's just fun. It's very creative. People can get very creative with it. But I like the fact that you can make a magic user just as quickly as you make any other character.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, good. So we'll be on the lookout for that. Mr. Scotty, thank you so much for joining me tonight. And
of course.
Thanks for all the things we like. Look forward to seeing you at Valhalla, and some horrible way you'll murder all of us.
I'm sure I'll think of something. I prefer you murder yourselves, but
you're good at that.
That seems to be what happens a lot.
Oh man. And thank you to everybody who participated in the chat. I tried to read as many of your comments as I could. I super appreciate everybody who participated in posting your picture to the Facebook. And so what are we doing? So 2 weeks from now is Christmas Day. I won't be here. So we won't be streaming that day. But Voice and I were talking about maybe streaming either the week before and or the week after, but maybe just having it be like a more chill stream.
Maybe.
Voice have any input on that?
we're kicking around the idea, so we'll see if we can come up with something that's entertaining for everybody.
Okay, yeah, because 18th, yeah, I could at least stream, and then I'm home all day on the 1st, so I might just hang out online with you guys. We'll see. It's not like
I'm pretty sure I'll be available too, so let me know.
All right,
around.
So yeah, we'll keep you posted, and I guess that's it. I guess we'll be saying goodbye here. So if you want to keep chatting, feel free to. As the outro plays, it's a few minutes long, so I'll be replying to you all in there. And then Scotty, it'll mute us again until the end of it, and then we'll be back after. So thank you all. We'll see you
these messages,
later.
We'll be right back.
Barry, cover me. All right, guys, this is it. Copy that. No more sandwiches, Barry.
wrong with this place? I'm in the west corridor. I'm right outside the generator room. I'm out of bullets. Oh, Barry. Success.